So one thing that I've been dying to ask you, and it's almost because I've never actually asked you about it. I remember, I think you told me that you were planning it back in the day, but anyway. So go on, what's the crack? Bentley's coffee shops. How did it
Oh,
come
so,
about? What was the dream? And also, what did you think I was going to ask you is the other thing.
so Bentley's is kind of a bit of an accident, really. I've always loved cake and coffee, obviously. I have to go to the gym 5 times a week because I love cake too much. Food in general. So it wasn't going to be Bentley's in the first place. It was going to be something else. But then that didn't come off. My other half had he'd taken redundancy and was kind of at a point where he's actually always wanted to set up a business and he's gone on about it. And I've always been really discouraging, actually, to be fair. And he'll say the same about it. Simply because through working with businesses and seeing the pain of business ownership, obviously there's the great results and stuff, but seeing all of that, long hours, juggling, you've got to be your marketing manager, a HR manager, an accountant, everything that goes with it. I just kind of always backed away. So he's pushed me to accept that this is a good thing to do. And it is a good thing to do, and I'm not saying it isn't. But Bentleys came about, we got a phone call from the landlords of the Parkway Centre because they knew through the grapevine we were interested in starting a business. And again, they put faith in us as a business startup, and we took on the lease in the coffee shop space in Colby Newman Parkway Centre. And that was we opened on the 1st of July last year as Bentley's Coffee Shop. And it was so fun doing the brand because, again, we weren't called Bentleys in the first place. And because of obviously the contacts that I've got, I went and spoke to the guys that I'd worked with for the Evolution brand because I absolutely loved their approach and
Who did you use?
High ground design in Stockton.
Okay.
So absolute phenomenal people. And so we went and we spoke to them and they sort of came up with the Bentleys branding and stuff. And we didn't call it after me. That was their idea, but it fits quite well and it sounds quite nice. So we did that, and then again, my other half, Martin, said, "Oh, I've seen this opportunity at Middlesbrough Sports Village to take over their cafe area," and I was like, "Oh God."
Are you up to number 5? No?
Yeah, so we're up to 5. So that was the second one, which we opened 3 days before lockdown. And then we were introduced to Debenhams during lockdown because they've closed all of their coffee shop provisions. And then we've taken on 3 Debenhams ones, which we opened in the middle of August in Scunthorpe, Scarborough and Beverley. And then we've reopened the Middlesbrough Sports Village one last week on the 1st of September. So we're now up to 5.
So this is a business strategy related podcast and show and stuff. What's the vision for Bentleys? Like, what is it that you see as that your kind of USPs and things that you really kind of want to bring to the experience?
I mean, whether it's called a USP, I don't know, but we're just, so we're just normal people. And having a conversation with someone that, again, it's back to the sort of conversation piece, because a lot of people that visit, they might say visit on their own because they're between things, or they just want somewhere to sit, or they're with friends meeting people. And we've got so many regulars at Colby, and having that community type feel to it, it's so important. And obviously we do fantastic cake and fantastic coffee. So we get coffee from Rounton Coffee, which is obviously local business, local suppliers and that kind of thing. So it's really sort of supporting local in the areas in which we sit. So we're trying to kind of replicate that as much as is possible. in the other locations. So
Have you
yeah.
ever read the Howard Schultz book about when he set up Starbucks?
I do not read books.
So,
It's really weird. So I've joined a book club before. Enterprise Made
Jess Williams.
Simple did one. Well, yeah, well, no, because I was invited but politely declined because I said I can't read. And yeah, I do not read anything. I don't read fiction. The only thing I read is sort of business magazines or daily newsletters, snippety things that I know what's going on in the world around me, but I don't read business stuff. And do you know why? Because the time that I have spare, which is like this, I'm either walking the dog, going to the gym, speaking to my family and friends, and I literally, and this is no lie, I do not have time to read.
Because in the book, basically, he talks about he had a vision and an idea, and this is obviously going back to, I think, the 80s, and what he wanted to do was bring the Italian coffee experience to America.
Yeah.
The big thing that they see is their USP, and actually, I do really love your brand. I've got your logo in the corner of the screen. It was trying to create what they call a third space. So basically, you've got home, you've got work, and it's having somewhere else that you can go to relax, to chill out, have 15 minutes to yourself. It's friendly, it's not noisy, and the whole experience is actually kind of what makes the difference. And again, it's almost, so when you, like, what do you look for in a venue? Like, is footfall the most important thing that you look for, or is it culture? Or
I mean, venue is, location is, it's like, you know, the program says location, location, location. There's no point in hiding under a bushel somewhere when no one can find you. It's all right if you're a Michelin starred restaurant that's got, you know, like the man behind the curtain or something like that, that's created something that's like that. Footfall is an imperative. Visibility is an imperative. If no one can see you, then no one, and you don't shout about yourself, then no one knows you're there. But then obviously it's the marketing that goes with it. So before we opened Colby, I think I was about 6 months into a campaign to try and get awareness, to try and build the vision as to what it was going to be, to sell that before it launched, and then when it launched, match that vision.
Because you know what's quite interesting is that everything you've just described is also true for people in their careers. So you can be a brilliant accountant or whatever, but if nobody knows who you are and you don't have your own personal brand in the marketplace to see Emily do her thing, you know, it does apply to both careers and business to actually, you know, put yourself out there and actually talk about stuff. And so, no, I appreciate that. And,
totally.
So what's the dream for the business?
I just think that it's grasping opportunities when they present themselves, or finding opportunities if you think something's right. There's a few sort of towns on our thought list, and we've sort of looked at other things that have come along and then either not been quite right or slipped through before we've had a chance to get in there. I'm sure that 5 won't be the end of the won't be the end of the story. I'm sure there'll be more. So yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm a complete control freak. So I've got my communicate is full-time job. I've got obviously the Bentleys, which is either 6 a.m. or until 1 p.m. to try and do stuff. Because you can imagine how much paperwork and stuff's involved in running 5 companies, as well as having a full-time job. And you know, you've got the business club as well.